beautiful day. It's such a beautiful day in the neighborhood. The sun is shining, flowers are blossoming, snotty little kids waking up their parents. It's such a beautiful day. It's such a beautiful day. It's such a beautiful day in the neighborhood. The birds are chirping, lawnmowers cutting, barbecue burning, dead animals. It's such a beautiful day. It's such a beautiful day. It's such a bitchin' day. It's such a wonderful day. It's such a beautiful day. It's such a gorgeous day. It's such a happy day. It's such a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
It's beautiful.
You know, every day is a beautiful day.
It's like another perfect day.
Yeah.
I love LA.
We love it.
We love it.
Okay, yeah, so we're in LA. Still a beautiful day. Although I do have a light jacket on today rather than my normal uniform of tank top.
Break out the leather.
Yeah, so it's a little windier than usual, but, you know, it is November. I expect, you know, a little bit of upheaval here and there.
I want to be able to accessorize occasionally, you know?
Yeah.
Jackets and shit.
Yeah.
Not all shorts.
Scarves and stuff. Actually, I'm wearing a pair of shorts, but my legs never get cold. Just the top part, so I have a little jacket on. But it's okay. It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
A lot of news.
A lot of news. And we took yesterday off from both shows.
Yep.
So today we're going to do both shows. So we're going to be back at 5 p.m. for the regular Widdershins broadcast.
And we have a new original theme song that we're going to unveil. It's the Widdershins theme song that was entirely composed and performed by one of our listeners.
Yeah, I think he's one of my students too. I think. I don't know. I get confused sometimes. It's, have different names in the emails and stuff. But yeah, we'll be unveiling our new song. It'll be one of the few things that's not copyright infringement on our show.
Well, plus this one.
Well, that one. Well, I mean,
They could.
I actually think we get a copyright infringement warning on that song. I think we do. I'll double check. We get them like it's great. You can like see the song list for the show every day by the list of copyright infringement threats. But it's funny. It's like it's not the people that own the copyright. It's like a bot trying to get money.
Right. Yeah, those bots. They're going to take over the world pretty soon. I see it slowly but surely happening.
Look at what the Russian bots did already.
Yep. That's why I don't use the self-checkout lines at stores, because I think there needs to be a person doing that on the other side. Yeah.
Pretty soon when they get the self-driving cars, man, no more Uber, no more Lyft. They're all going to be out of work.
I'm okay with no more Uber and no more Lyft. I have my own car. I just don't want to drive it. I should be able to have...
I mean, they'll have Uber and Lyft, just nobody will have jobs.
I'm okay with that. Like I said, those people, most of them have other jobs. It's supplemental income.
Well, but before we get into the news, I had a little story on that. Remember, there was a video a while back of a self-driving car driving at night, and somebody like jaywalked.
Well, yeah, it was like in the middle of the night, and the guy fell asleep or something, and he didn't see the person until like literally a second before he hit her.
Well, so it turns out that the self-driving car could not compute a jaywalker. It could only compute somebody crossing in a crosswalk.
Oh, no. It needs to have something that detects even like an animal running through, like any maybe like infrared or something, like any disruption in the matrix, and it needs to stop.
Well, and the funny part about that is then they followed up and they said that the software would have seen the jaywalker as another car. So I'm going, okay, well, that doesn't explain it. Why didn't it stop then?
Yeah, it's just
You know-
stopped. Like you're not just gonna plow into the back of another car, being like, "Oh, well, that's not a person, so I might as well."
Yeah, so that was their explanation that they were talking about today, and I'm just like, wait a minute, I have more questions now after your explanation.
I think they're getting private lessons from Trump.
I would explain a whole lot of things.
Yeah, with all those just hard to believe, impossibilities is what they are. They're impossibilities. So,
I think you have some stuff to say. You want to take it
oh,
away?
well, I was just gonna say the main story that we've been listening to since yesterday is how Gordon Sondland, he was the ambassador to the EU. He was the first person to testify, and he was clearly saying there was no quid pro quo. God, it's a tongue twister. Quid pro quo. But then other people started testifying, people who were in the room with him, and they all had a different version than what he had. So then the House wanted to speak to him again, so he came back, and all of a sudden, he had full recollection of what happened. Because when he first was testifying, he said he didn't really recall anything. But then after those people testified and after they said Bolton, angrily called the meeting off and stormed off and told him it wasn't okay, and Fiona Hill told him it wasn't okay.
I was just getting ready for them to charge him with lying, and they were, and they would have, and that's what everybody said.
Yeah, and that's why he walked back what he said before. So
I didn't know that you could walk back testimony, though.
I don't know. Well, as soon as the other people testified something different, I heard that the House wants to speak to him again. So they're willing to, let him, fix what he did. But so he said, I don't even remember the full audio or what we watched, but he basically said that he thought there was quid pro quo.
And he thought it would have been illegal.
Yeah. And then, you know how I normally say that I won't read anything from Breitbart?
Yeah. Wait, we're already going there?
No, I'm not going. No, I'm not going there. I'm just going to this one story. There's one story because every single time we hear something on our end that's good news for our people, the first thought in my head is, how is Breitbart going to spin this? And I was really curious because to me, it's kind of like as close as a smoking gun as we can get. Because, this guy, he wasn't just like an ally. This guy donated $1 million toward Trump's re-election. Toward his original election in 2016. And that's why Trump made him the ambassador to the EU, because he gave him lots of dough. And so I was going on Breitbart, and I gotta find it. It was the only, last night, it was the only headline that was in bold. And today I don't think it was in bold, but it showed a bunch of, it was like a big, picture. Let me see. I'm trying to find it. Of course, now I can't find it. Here, take the mic for a second. I'm going to find it.
Okay. Yeah, so, Sondland.
Okay. So it's like it's a little further down, but it's kind of like their main story, and they've got a big picture and big bold letters. So here's their headline. Fact check. No, Gordon Sondland did not prove Ukraine quid pro quo. Okay, so listen to how they're splitting hairs here. Sondland said that he, quote, presumed there was a quid pro quo, but he did not have any first-hand knowledge of one. And other witnesses have satisfied that there was no such quid pro quo at all, which isn't what happened. The House Intelligence Committee began releasing transcripts this week of its behind-closed-doors interviews with witnesses in the impeachment inquiry, and they write impeachment inquiry in quotes. On Tuesday, it released the transcripts of the appearances of Sondland and former Special Representative for Ukraine, Kurt Volker. Okay, so they're talking about Volker's testimony. But Sondland, who had also testified earlier that there was no quid pro quo, had to amend that testimony after it was apparently contradicted by U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine Bill Taylor, who testified last month that he believed, and they put it in italics for emphasis, that he believed there was a quid pro quo under which the Trump administration was withholding key military aid to Ukraine unless it investigated alleged corruption related to former Vice President Joe Biden and his son Hunter Biden. In a supplemental declaration filed with the committee, Sondland said that by the beginning of September, in the absence of any credible explanation for the suspension of aid, he presumed that the Ukraine aid suspension had become linked to the proposed anti-corruption statement in the investigation of the Bidens. That led him to tell the Ukrainian government that resumption of U.S. aid would likely not occur until it complied. So it just goes on and on with all these mental gymnastics and how, if an expert witness is testifying, I believe there was a quid pro quo, that means he's saying there was a quid pro quo. That doesn't mean you can turn around and say, well, he said he believes, he didn't say there was. Like, come on, people. We all know how to speak English.
Well, and everybody was there. Vindman was there. Bolton was there. The entire meeting was about the quid pro quo. So he did have direct knowledge of it because he was one of the people negotiating it. But then Bolton got pissed off. Now, first of all, this is another thing, is... Sondland said that he didn't remember anything, that went on there, and there was no quid pro quo, and it was a very nice meeting. It was a perfect.
No, it was Trump.
Oh yeah, it was Trump. It wasn't a nice meeting. Bolton got very heated, called the meeting off, and then Sondland went down into the basement with the Ukraine dudes and had a little private meeting wherein somebody else burst into the meeting and told him that what he was doing was improper. Now, you would remember those are not the kind of things that you just don't recall. They're stressful events. There's drama going on. It's definitely not a perfect meeting. So he had the first-hand knowledge. Everybody in that room had first-hand knowledge, but the problem was everybody in the room said the same goddamn thing except Sondland. And now he said the same goddamn thing.
Now he recalls everything that they said.
I mean, he recalled it to great detail and thought that it was illegal and improper, and there's really no way to spin it. It's fascinating that they're trying, but Breitbart's counting on the fact that their people don't read, and we do.
This is all they read. This is their news.
Yeah, this is all they read. It's like we actually read the documents. They released the transcripts of several of the testimonies that Lindsey Graham was bitching about, they got to release it. He was demanding it, and now he says he's not going to look.
Yeah, as soon as they released it, he said, I have no intention of reading the transcripts. I think this is all BS. Right after.
Like, la, 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 can't hear you.
Yeah. And then, Rand Paul also did some mental gymnastics. He is trying to... get the media to reveal the whistleblower's identity. He said it's illegal if the government does it, but apparently the media can do it. So he's trying to get them to reveal the identity. And you know what he said? He said he doesn't even want to know the whistleblower's identity for being a whistleblower. The only reason he wants his identity is because this guy worked for Biden back when Biden was vice president, and therefore has a conflict of interest, and he needs to be a material witness and not have all this whistleblower status and everything, because obviously what he says is tainted because he used to work for Joe Biden. So that's the angle that Rand Paul. He's like, I don't even want his identity as a whistleblower. I want his identity for this totally other thing, and he just so happened to be the whistleblower. But that's got nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say about that. Yeah.
Well, he's totally trying to pressure them into revealing the identity.
So everybody that ever worked for a previous administration is has a conflict of interest. I see.
So all these people defending Trump have a conflict of interest because they're working for him.
Yeah. Well, Trump always does that. Well, that's an Obama general. That's an Obama judge. He really has polarized this whole fucking country worse than it's ever been, to where everybody on the right is towing the party line right now. It's like it's all the Democrats are all fucking evil, terrible. It's like they never really went that far. They argued, they disagreed, they didn't like each other. This, the other side is evil and everything they do is wrong, and we're opposed to everything they do. This is kind of new. Couple years old.
Yep.
No, God, there was so many stories. Oh, Terry, talk about Virginia.
So Virginia had kind of a crazy night. Virginia, 10 years ago, was like the red state. I don't know what happened in those 10 years. I should educate myself on what happened. But something happened. And now it's totally blue. Totally blue. Their governor, their lieutenant governor, their House majority, their Senate majority, their attorney general, and then that woman who flipped Trump off when he was in his motorcade. I don't know if you guys remember that picture, but she's riding her bike and she's flipping him off, and like his limo's behind her, and she got fired for that. But she ran for office for the first time. I don't even know exactly what, like a board. I think it's a board of supervisors position somewhere in Virginia. So it was her first foray into politics, and she won. And her district presides over one of Trump's golf courses. That's what I think is really funny. And then there's a transgender woman, I forget her name, but she won the last election in Virginia, and I don't remember what the position was that she ran for, but she just won again, and I mean she just got reelected again. So they elected her before for being transgender, and then they elected her again. And so the thing about everything in Virginia being blue, we don't even have that, is that they can pass all this stuff, like they could loosen up abortion restrictions, they can pass LGBTQ protections. I mean, they can do whatever they want, and none may say them nay. It's really rare for a state to have that, especially a state that used to be totally red and all of a sudden just turned blue. I remember one election I was looking at Virginia and I saw that it was blue. I think it was the last election, and I was like, what the hell? Maybe one precinct reported or something like that. And then, of course, there was that big gubernatorial election in Kentucky. It was Bevin. Hold on, I'm gonna remember this. Bevin versus Bashir. So Bashir won, and but by very little. Like he won by like 0.3 of 1 point. And honestly, if it was my guy, I'd probably demand a recount too. So because of that, because it was really close, the guy who lost, Bevins, is not conceding. And everybody's already called it. Their Secretary of State has called it. The media's called it. The only outlet that hasn't called it because it's so close is the Associated Press. So they're still waiting for something. But they're I don't know if their Secretary of State or their Attorney General, somebody who's in charge of like verifying the election count and declaring a winner, already declared the Democrat as the winner, even though it's by 0.3 of a percentage point. But the other guy's not conceding. I read that he apparently can petition the courts for a recount, so I guess he's going to do that. But the day before, Trump and Pence went to Kentucky to stump for this guy. And I was trying to look for the soundbite, and I couldn't find it, but I found a quote. This is what he said. He said to the audience, "If you lose, they're going to say, Trump suffered the greatest defeat in the history of the world." Trump said at the rally, "This was the greatest. You can't let that happen to me." So it was all about him. Like, he's taking it as a personal thing. And he's still getting credit. Like, even though the guy lost, he's still like, I created massive movement. And it's like, no, you didn't. Because the victory, like, even if he concedes, like, it's really, really a tight race. It's a tiny loss. And he should have won by a lot. If Trump had anything to do with it in a helpful way, he would have won by a lot. Kentucky is a red state. And the fact that the guy lost at all actually does say a lot about Trump, that he's ineffective. And I just saw a headline that said that Trump Jr. and Fox are kind of distancing that guy from Trump, because he lost. So
Well,
they
that's
all
the
turn on
thing.
each other, like at the drop of a hat.
Well, and Trump, he always spins every loss as a win. When he lost the House, he talked about winning the Senate. You always talk about that one. It's like you already had the Senate.
He already had the Senate and he had the House. What happened was he didn't win the Senate, but he lost the House. That's exactly what happened. He didn't win
Lost
the Senate.
several seats in the Senate.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
I thought. Oh, he gained seats. All right, gained seats in the Senate, but lost the House overwhelmingly. So here, Pompeo, and they're going to try and get him on the stand. But you remember the Ukrainian diplomat? She was getting harassed and all that. She contacted the State Department to defend her. Yeah. And they wouldn't. Well, now that's come out, the State Department loses confidence in Pompeo. They have a morale problem in the State Department now. Let's see if there's really anything to read from the story. That's pretty much it. They got a serious morale problem. Nobody could trust them. Morale in the building is always bad, but it's different, said an official. I think part of it is Ukraine. It's a game changer. It's complete nonsense, the official said. Everybody in the department is concerned about the political situation in Washington because we are citizens. We are citizens with a special interest in foreign policy. This is clearly true. That's different from saying that there is plummeting morale. Okay, so that's somebody disagreeing, but then there's several other people talking about the plummeting morale. It was Yovanovitch was the diplomat. Yeah. So Pompeo, and he's up to his fucking ears in this shit too, and they're gonna eventually get him on the stand. Suspicious situation at Amsterdam Schiphol Airport. It's breaking news. And they just had, they just released a document, one of those, it was the transcript from Taylor, I think. They just released it, and I'm sure Lindsey Graham's not going to read it because it's just bullshit. But we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do because I think it's going to happen this time of day. Or maybe it'll happen before the show. Wednesday next week, they start the public hearings.
For what?
For the impeachment.
Okay.
So,
Next Wednesday?
yeah, so I don't know if they're going to be going on during the show. Or today's Wednesday, so a week from today. So that's gonna be something. Let me see. There were so many stories here. There was this one story. Pence is in trouble now. Pence was taking U.S. aid money that was being sent to the Middle East and funneling it to Christian groups. And it's quite possibly a violation of the Constitution.
Well, Roger Stone was supposed to start I think it was on Monday. They were doing a jury selection, and he said he had food poisoning and asked to be dismissed. And so the judge said to him, okay, but we're still going to continue with the jury selection, even if you're not here. I don't know if his counsel also left, but and he said that was okay, and he left. And they, went on with the jury selection.
So let me go into that one, because there's a lot in this story. Roger Stone goes on trial for lying about his plan to, quote, save Trump's ass. Now, that particular quote comes from an email that Yovanovitch, the diplomat shared with Congress during her testimony. She had an email from Stone to to another guy, where the plan was. I think he said that to Steve Bannon and to somebody else. His plan to save Trump's ass.
I heard they're going to speak to Steve Bannon as well.
I think they're going to, Stone, a longtime political consultant, member of Trump's 2016 campaign, is on trial in federal court where he's accused of lying to congressional investigators and attempting to obstruct an FBI investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election. Remember all those people that got arrested? All those Trump people? We kind of forgot about them because they've been in, prison or in, holding cells waiting to go to trial. Like Manafort, I think they talk about. Stone was in communication with intermediaries to WikiLeaks, which published emails stolen from the Democratic National Committee and John Podesta, who was chairman of the former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's campaign. Opening statements in the trial began late Wednesday morning after a day and a half after jury selection. Assistant Attorney Aaron Zelensky told jurors that Stone lied about the interactions with WikiLeaks intermediaries and lied about the fact he discussed what he was learning with the senior levels of the Trump campaign. Zelensky, who worked on former special counsel Robert Mueller's team, told jurors that Trump and Stone were in communication at key moments during the campaign, including leading up to WikiLeaks. So there's stuff coming out in this trial that's going to come up in the impeachment. They're still probing the Russia thing, and they should. We got a lot of witness tampering, and like right here, the defendant Roger Stone repeatedly lied under oath to a congressional committee and then tampered with a witness to cover up his tracks. Stone, Zelensky said, thought that those emails would help his friend Trump and they would hurt Clinton. Zelensky showed jurors an email sent to former Trump campaign Manafort in August 2016 about his plan to save Trump's ass, as well as an email to former Trump campaign official Steve Bannon about Stone's plan to help win that he said, quote, ain't pretty. Let me see. Oh yeah, so yeah, you might remember some of these stories. Stone, when he was after he was arrested, when he was awaiting trial, he put out a picture on social media of the judge with crosshairs on her head, and the judge banned him from social media for that. So there's just a couple of the memories from Roger Stone, but it's going on, and this guy, he's a total Trump guy with a big fucking mouth, and that's what got him into trouble in the first place. He says too much, and he's gonna say too much on trial. We're gonna find out some new Trump shit. But he was also responsible for the hush money to the Playboy model. Oh God, what's her name? The stripper, or it was the other one? It was one of them.
It's a Playboy model. The other one, that's a porn star. Which one?
I think they said the Playboy model.
Okay, that's McDougal. Karen
McDougal. All right, let's see. Yeah, there's some Pence offered foreign aid to Christian groups. Yes, already talked about that one. God, there's so many, and the headlines are coming in because this one. Under a shroud of secrecy, weapons arrive in Yemen, despite congressional outrage. The awkward camera angle, which you can't see, meant to hide the fact the owner of the phone is filming, but there is no mistaking the outlines of heavy cargo. Distinctive shape of U.S.-made Oshkosh armored vehicle stands out in the early morning darkness. Piece of military hardware that is currently the heart of a standoff between some American lawmakers and President Trump's administration. So we pretty much have it's one of the few bipartisan things that they've agreed on in Congress and the Senate. And I believe they even banned, I think they banned the weapons to Yemen, and Trump vetoed it. I think that happened. So Trump's just doing it. We're involved in another one of these fucking secret wars that our country is always involved in by way of proxy, and we're giving stuff to giving weapons to Saudi Arabia. And one of the things we were talking about with the Ukraine thing that I was thinking about the other day. So let me wrap my head around this one. We now know the 400 million or billion
For what?
for Ukraine, the aid that we held.
Million.
$400 million was withheld from Ukraine And the discussion about the aid, the Ukraine guy is talking about how they're going to buy our missiles from us. Javelins. So, my question is, are we like paying people to buy our missiles now? I'm sorry, are we giving them the money to buy the missiles?
So that's a win for them because they have free money coming in, and then they just turn around and hand back the money, and they get. Why can't they just give them the missiles for free then?
Soon Trump's going to be talking about our booming weapons sales and how it's helping our booming economy, and maybe that's how we have the booming sales.
That's what he's saying about Saudi Arabia, why he never really did anything about the Khashoggi thing. He was like, well, Saudi Arabia's given us billions of dollars in weapons, arms purchases, and he like straight up said that, and that's why he's going to be friends with them.
But you know, these gifts from Saudi, they are a quid pro quo. They want something in return. They want us to be their mercenaries. So far, that's working pretty well.
Should we do a musical break?
I suppose if you would like to do a musical break, we could do a musical break.
I would like that.
I have nothing lined up yet. Let's see, something. You're listening to It's a Beautiful Day, where we get the news off of our chests. We always rant about the news every morning, every day. Matter of fact, she was ranting about the news while I was trying to take a nap earlier. But we figured
just can't quit.
Just can't quit. So, welcome to our world. We'll be back.
It could happen to you.
Look at
L7 on a beautiful day. Really quick, looking at the BBC, it said Democrats make election games in a blow for Trump. Another headline, what a bad night for Trump means for 2020. So, I don't know. They seem to get it over across the pond, what's going on. But we're running out of headlines today. And we just realized, that it's Wednesday. We got to do a little things. We're going to be cutting out a little early. But we can't cut out without our special segment.
Okay, so you gotta sing the jingle.
Breitbart, Breitbart, them wacky folk at Breitbart, Breitbart, Breitbart. What are those Nazis saying today?
Yeah.
Headlines from Breitbart, from the fake news.
Okay, so let's see here. I gotta scroll all the way up.
So much fake news, she has to scroll.
Biden's hyphen impeachment witnesses. That's their main story. So I don't know what that means. That the Bidens are going to be witnesses?
That'd be fascinating.
Yeah. Okay. Republicans debate whether to call Joe or Hunter. Oh my God. So can we just ignore the subpoenas?
We should.
Yeah, we should grow some teeth and be like, you know what? This is all BS and a total hoax, and I'm not playing along with your little subpoena. That's what I would say.
Formalize your Republican inquiry.
I'm petty like that, but that's totally what I would say. Let's see. House Dems announce public impeachment hearings next week. Okay, that's accurate. Break the internet. Don Jr. shares alleged whistleblower name via Breitbart story. Oh, yeah. I actually read something last night where they did say that it's probably this guy who worked towards this. It's a CIA analyst, and they actually did say somebody's name. I forget what it was, like Eric something. But it's still, nobody's, positive. They're just kind of...
Isn't Don Jr. working for the government even though he's not qualified to do so? Doesn't he have some sort of position?
Yeah. But, he shares alleged whistleblower name, but I also saw the name, and nobody's positive that is the whistleblower. They're just betting on the fact that it's him. And I don't remember, I should have written down his name. But, okay, anyway. So, Breitbart launches Be Inspired News on Instagram. Okay, whatever that is.
Very inspiring.
Confusion. Oh, I guess there was some cartel which murdered 9 Mormons that were in Mexico, and 6 of them were children. Yeah. So it's confusion over which cartel murdered Mormons.
Nobody else has talked about them being Mormons. That's odd. Breitbart's focusing on that.
That's how I heard it immediately, was that it was.
Listen to the story today. There's no religious affiliation.
Yesterday, and they said they put Mormons in the headline. I mean, I don't know how that's significant.
Why were they in a car?
Maybe they were in horse and buggy.
They should be on bikes.
Maybe they were on bikes.
They weren't.
How do you know?
They saw a shot-up car in the picture.
Oh, okay. So, squad divided. Presley backs Pocahontas. So the squad, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and Presley, I forget her first name, but the first 3 backed Bernie. They're endorsing Bernie. And the 4th one, Presley, backed Pocahontas, which is, they're so mature. That's how they refer to Elizabeth Warren. Let's see. White House mocks ABC standards that blocked Epstein. Yeah, I heard something happened with the Epstein story and ABC, but I don't know what. Oh, there we go. Alleged whistleblower Eric Ciarmella. See, I knew it was Eric something. Eric Ciarmella worked closely with anti-Trump dossier hoaxer. Of course. McConnell. Impeachment trial would not lead to a removal if held today. Oh, okay. So you know how everybody's talking about this huge win for Virginia and how it's like absolutely blue now? So Breitbart's headline is Obama-endorsed candidates falter in Virginia.
Oh, God.
It's like, who cares?
Falter and win.
Virginia
Okay.
is blue now. Yeah, maybe there's like a couple, that didn't win, but we still have the majority. So maybe a couple of them didn't win, but that's what they're going to focus on? Wow. Okay. Let's see. The David Hogg. Oh, God. Okay, so you know that kid, David Hogg, that they totally pick on? He's saying, let's buy NRA headquarters, now Democrat. Oh, let's buy NRA HQ, now Democrats control. Okay, so this isn't in English, but I'm taking it to mean that they want to have an NRA headquarters in Virginia now that Democrats. They want to buy the NRA headquarters in Virginia now that the Democrats. I didn't even know where they're headquartered. Are they in Virginia?
I guess.
Wow, why haven't they gotten kicked out by now? I mean, if Virginia's all blue. Okay, let's see. Booker, not another Dem, can turn out black vote. Climate change up. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Kentucky Dems declare victory over Bevin. Oh, and then the guy, there was a governor's race in Mississippi, which the Republican did win by, I mean, not huge. I think he won by 7 points, which is still a better showing for the Democrats than it normally is in that godforsaken state. So anyway, so they had a win. Let's see. Democrats complete historic. Yeah, okay, so they're posting the truth every once in a while. Democrats complete historic sweep of both chambers of Virginia legislature. So that's a Breitbart story. Scarborough blames Trump for GOP losing out in Kentucky. Let's see. Okay, cyclist who flipped off Trump motorcade wins Virginia election. Oh, Trump. Okay, so Trump said fake news is to blame. Will blame me for Bevin's loss. Fake.
Sound like some other people were blaming him too.
Yeah. Well, he said you can't do that to me.
Yeah.
So why? I mean, he's the one who tied himself in with that win. Like, he could have distanced himself all along. The way he distanced himself from a guy in Alabama, Roy Moore.
Yeah.
And he said that that's why he lost, because Trump distanced himself from him.
Well, I saw the district map of Kentucky the other night when this was going on, and I'm shocked to how much blue is there. I mean, it's fucking Kentucky. It's the most rednecky place in the world.
And what they were saying on the news, though, is that the rural parts, which are traditionally red, like, a lot of people are leaving the rural parts and they're going to the urban parts, and this is like pretty much true of all states, the urban parts are blue.
All right. Should we get out of here?
Sure.
We're going to get out of here. We'll see you 5 p.m. tonight for Widdershins, and where we will unveil the new Widdershins song. It's even better than my Breitbart song. I'll give you that. All right. We out. See you next time.